Enoch talks about the mountain of the dead. You're going to see um, gleanings from this foundational testimony mentioned in the scenario in the apostolic writings that many have called Abraham's bosom. The different locations of storage locations for the people of the dead. To be sure, Enoch's testimony is the foundation upon which Abraham stood, and not the other way around. Remember Hebrew roots, folks, when you used to say that without understanding Moses, you can't understand Paul. Now do without understanding Enoch, you can't understand Moses, and you'll be doing good. From there, I revealed to another place, and he showed me. I traveled to another place, and he showed me the angel that assists Enoch in his journey. From there, I traveled to another place, and he showed me to the west a great and high mountain of hard rock, and there were 4 hollow places in it. 4, deep and very smooth. 3 of them were dark, and one illuminated. That's a good one. What do you want to bet that's for the sons of the light, who walk not in evening and blackness of night, not being inclined to the woman of the evening, hashtag woman of the evening, hashtag great whore, hashtag east and west. How do you turn your back on one coming from the east and the north if not to look west and south? This is not difficult. You have one face, you have 2 eyes on it. You need to do an about face and leave your Hebrew roots Judaism and look to the Lion of Judah coming from the east and north. To be sure, the Assyrian news will trouble him from the east and the north. Now, can you imagine being the gold digger, the woman of the evening who, squinting through the lattice that is her eyelashes, I'm in Proverbs, by the way, if you're slow to follow, squinting through her eyelashes, the lattice, looking through the window, Enoch, hashtag window and doors, hashtag gates and portals, to the west at the obscurity of the waning lesser luminary, at evening and darkness of night, aka I hate your new moons. They're wearisome to me, the words from the Father above. Of course, to be sure, it is true. That's how you turn your back on the Son of Man, the seed of David, uh, coming from the east and the north. The Assyrian will cross over to his stronghold for fear, and those that are following him are going to fall off that honey stick like shaking ants off of it. Not going to be real popular then. He'll be horrified, astonished, scared to death, no doubt, previously blaspheming those who dwell in heaven with a barred arm, continuing in their wickedness with global support, as all of the wicked rebels try and seek to escape the sting of death and ascend upward, not realizing that unless a kernel of wheat, the words of Messiah here, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, then it is, of course, raised and bears much fruit. Folks, this is the realm of death, the realm of loss, the realm of, my gosh, I can't hardly bear this, the realm of being excommunicated from the tree of life, and the realm of working out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Don't get too comfortable here in the realm of death, but instead consider the new life that is offered in Messiah. I speak truth to you today and words of hope, even though they seem hard. It is for the purpose of you not getting too comfortable, sitting at ease, and that false sense of hashtag peace and security. So he sees these hollow chambers. Raphael says to him, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to him, these hollow places are intended. This is what happens when you die. Again, you know, and you don't have to be afraid here pretty soon. After Assad gets the Golan and goes through Samaria, Judea, and is buttressed by the fallen host of heaven, hashtag host of heaven, hashtag Satan and his messengers, hashtag alien God, which he will acknowledge and advance its glory. Of course, causing these beings from above to rule over many, he divides and parcels out the land that is his Father in heaven, whom he will blaspheme and utter monstrous blasphemies, instead favoring the adversary and his messengers and the deceiving, lying wonders and signs that will be happening. And the eye candy, which Hollywood is preparing you for today, nothing like seeing it firsthand. You will be led by sight and be damned if you are not led by the Spirit and the word of our Father in heaven in your hearts and minds. To be sure, the same Spirit that is in Messiah can be in you if you will hearken unto it. These hollow places are intended that the spirits of the souls of the dead might be gathered into them. Again, you'll see this being this testimony being gleaned from in the apostolic writings. For this purpose they were created. Here, the souls of all human beings should be gathered. And look, these are the pits for the place of their confinement, storage chambers. Thus they were made until the day which they will be judged. The Messiah will judge both the quick and the dead. Will there be faith found upon the earth when Messiah returns? Not much, because the wicked will be led by eye candy, led by sight, and not by the sound of our Father's sweet, gentle voice of truth. Thus they were made until the day on which they will be judged, and until the time of the day of the end of the great judgment that will be exacted from them. There I saw the spirit of the dead man making suit. If you think your cause will not be heard because people will not hear it, please do know that is simply not the case. And his lamentation went up to heaven and cried and made suit. So here he witnesses a spirit, dead person, making case. And he asks Raphael, the watcher of the Holy One, who was with me, and said to him, the spirit that makes suit, your cause will be rectified if it is just. Whose is this? Whose spirit is this? That thus his lamentation goes up and makes suit unto heaven. And he said to me, this is the spirit that went from Abel. Then I asked Raphael, the Holy One and Watcher, who was with me, and said to him, this spirit that makes suit, whose is it? That thus lamentation goes up and makes suit unto heaven. And he answered and said to me, this is the spirit that went forth from Abel, whom Cain his brother murdered. In the event they come for you, and they will, and you find yourself handed over and dragged before corrupt kings and magistrates inclined to filthy lucre now waning, please do understand that your spirit can and will make suit, and justice can and will be served. And Abel makes accusation against him until his posterity perishes from the face of the earth, and his posterity is obliterated from the posterity of men. Then I asked about all these hollow places, and his posterity, I asked about all these hollow places, why they were separated one from the other. And he said, these three were made that the spirits of the dead might be separated. So there's three where the spirits of the dead are separated. The one is for the spirits of the righteous, where the bright fountain of water is, a river of living water, a fountain of living water and light, the preferred one. And this second one is created for the spirits of sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their life. Here the spirits are separated for this torment until the great day of judgment, of scourges and tortures and curses, that there might be recompense for their spirits. There he will bind them forever. And this has been separated for the spirits of them that make, the third one, make suit, who make disclosure regarding the said destruction, when they were murdered in the days of the sinners. See, so their case can be heard. Folks, this isn't difficult. In a court, even a just court by below here, funded by the money oftentimes. Now, don't get me wrong, there are fine judges who judge righteously and just, and those are people to whom we need to rally and support and pray for, because their job is indeed tough in a wicked and corrupt world, and will be getting more difficult. In fact, at some point, folks, you guys are going to just walk away here soon. I'll help you see that way in that time by continuing to point you to that one head in Syria. When you see the Golan begin to tremble, and Samaria and Tel Aviv and and Haifa begin to be destroyed, that'd be a good time to just go ahead and get your family matters and take that little filthy lucre, cast that into the sea of forgetfulness, and be about things that matter, like fathers turning to the hearts of their sons and mothers to their daughters. And that involves leaving the marketplace and, oh, with tears and lamentation, to be sure. But he's stirring up and rekindling, if you will, the good way in the beginning, the proper and good and just government of our Father in heaven, which is a family. The third, and this has been separated for the spirits of them that make suit, that third chamber, who make disclosure about the destruction when they are murdered in the days of the sinners. And this one is, last one is created for the spirits of the people who will be not be pious, but sinners, who were godless. And they were companions with the lawlessness, just as in the proper restoration of the two houses of Israel, where all the companions are grafted into the covenant and the promise, and which looks nothing like Hebrew roots Judaism. Just as there are companions grafted into the commonwealth of Israel in the fulfillment of the restoration of the two houses, there are also wicked, abominable branches that have not been planted by our Father that will be uprooted and burned, that are companions to those who do wickedly and murder. See, folks, you don't get to be silent. You don't get to be silent in the mob crying for the death of a just man and not also get mowed over by the northern army of import that comes shortly thereafter. Not in Messiah's day, not in our day either. These spirits will not be punished on the day of judgment, nor will they be raised from there. Raphael will not rise. So the spirits that will not rise, in fact, Raphael is in charge of these spirits, and that has at its root the context of rising. Raphaim, there in Golan and Gilgal, in the mountain between Syria and Israel, is the place where the Raphaim, those who will not rise, were confined. Again, that affirmed in your canonical sources, which your rabbis and preachers and whatnot have approved for your handling, as you tuck beneath the other mediators. I don't mean to be harsh. There need to be places where we hear the word, but better the word dwell in you, properly disseminated from above, than through the preacher who's walling you in the brick and mortar, then calling it a church, which by nature cannot be, but is instead an institution, some good, some bad. You'll see the bad in what you thought was good come out as time progresses, to be sure. And it is those that love you enough in advance to tell you the life that you likely now hate to hear about, that would also give you the good admonition to come out of her, my people, lest you share in her destruction. That said in love and absent animosity, knowing full well every single one of his sheep who hear his voice, he will gather. No doubt about it. That out of her and not in her. Then I bless the Lord of glory. Yeah, you do well to do that. Then I blessed the Lord of glory and said, blessed is the judgment of righteous, and blessed are you, O Lord of majesty and righteousness, who are Lord of eternity.